Hey friends, and welcome back to Path of Exile for another update on our Flicker Strike character. It is day 3 of the league, and it's looking pretty good. So, we were able to get lucky and get a Veiled Orb, but I'm saving that because I don't think the price is quite right on those yet. So, upgrades to the character we made yesterday. We created a new sword, which is around 450 physical damage per second. I'll go over how I made that in a little bit. Which was a huge upgrade from our last sword. We upgraded a couple of pieces of our armor, namely we did a 6-link Saint's Hauberk, crafted on that a little bit until we got life and cold res, and then crafted on some extra res. The most important thing, in my opinion, is the endurance charge every 15 seconds. So, what we've got going on here is, down here we went with a charge mastery with increased charge duration. So, what that means is that we have 100% uptime on our endurance charges as soon as we get up to our max, which is really huge because endurance charges are so powerful. So that I think made a big difference. Build right now is sitting at right around 1 million DPS, assuming we have 10 rage. So yeah, feels pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. Today is going to be mostly, again, getting back into defenses and seeing what's there. I'm also experimenting with Breach. I don't know if it's worth it yet, but I like Breach. I want Breach to be good. I always want Breach to be good, so I'm trying it out. I think we can do Searing Exarch, and I'll just do this one. And let's go. Jumping into a map, just gonna go through and show where the build is at. Well, the build is, I don't think, going to compare to a lot of two-handed Flicker Strike builds. It does feel really nice being able to block, and our block chance I think is, if not capped, close to capped on both attack and spell. I think spell block might be at 60. Let's get this Verisium ore real quick. $700, ooh. Alright, we're only gonna go about halfway for that. Okay, that wasn't too bad. That was the first one I've had that was over 300, so I wanted to take it easy. But yeah, the build feels good. I like it. It's pretty consistent. I do want to improve the crit, just because I would like to be able to drop some of the less damage-oriented things. We'll see how that goes. I think in order for me to do that realistically, I need to unlock the Calgarin crit chance runes. I think there's one that can help me out there. Alright. And we get to do Searing Exarch when we start stream. But yeah, that's where the build sits. As far as the league mechanic goes, I've probably spent too much time messing around with it. I really need to focus today on just upgrading the town and getting to where I can get high-level recruits. So that'll be a focus today. Alright, so switching over to POV, this is kind of where the character sits. So, added a couple nodes yesterday, changed a couple things up. We've dropped this bleed and gone with Fortify and some more block and our Frenzy bridges. So, most of the motivation behind this is getting more endurance charges. We also anointed our Amulet with Disciple of the Unyielding. We will probably change this later to Frenetic, but I didn't have the silver oil for this, so that will wait until later. We were also able to go ahead and finish out our Ascendancy, so we grabbed Bane of Legends, and that allowed us to not take Reflect. So now we have all 4 of these. Ideally, we would like to get a weapon that has a high enough base crit chance that we no longer need Overwhelm, which means we can take Brutal Fervor instead, which is a pretty nice boost in damage just because we're using Carnage Heart. A couple of upgrades we could make to our gear. We could get some flasks that help us out. Something like a Lion's Roar would be great. And we really need to spend some time upgrading all of our other gear. So our gauntlets, our greaves, our rings, and our belt are all okay at best. So upgrading those is going to be a big help. Our shield also probably needs some love, but it can wait until later. Looking over at our configuration, this is what we have set up. So melee distance to enemy is 1, because it's always 1 flicker. We're assuming that they're bleeding because we have a 20% chance to bleed and we're hitting a lot. And bleeds last 5 seconds. We are always going to be in Sand Stance because taking 20% less damage is just awesome. Pride effect is initial. If we switch it to maximum, we gain damage, but that assumes we've been around for 4 seconds. Probably not a bad assumption, but we'll keep it at initial anyway. Power charges, frenzy charges, and endurance charges. Once we get 1 or 2 power charges, this almost always stays at 3, and that's because we get our crit chance up to 100% with power charges. So you can see that if we have 1 power charge, we're already at capped crit chance. And so more than that is just making us a little more powerful. We have no power charges, we're still at 91%, and that's because of the bleeding. So without bleeding, we're at 73. With a single power charge, we're at 84. And with 2, we're at 95. So once we get a couple of power charges, we are good to go there. So power charges, yes. Bleeding, yes. Frenzy charges, we are generating a couple of ways. We can generate it on kill because of Disciple of Slaughter, and we're getting it from our Sword Mastery, which is an 8% when we hit a unique enemy. So pretty consistent frenzy generation. We should be at max all the time. And last up is our endurance charges, which are even better than our frenzy charges. We gain them on block, we gain them on kill, and we gain them every 15 seconds. The charges last 22 seconds, so once we hit max endurance charges, we will never lose them, unless something that has charge removal hits us. And that's about it. So today, I think I'm going to focus mostly on defenses again. 1 million damage isn't a crazy big number, but it is plenty to do everything that we need it to do. So back to defenses and see how far we can get. The other thing we can do, and that I will do, is once we get more Calgurn runes, we'll likely change our sword up a little bit, and instead of having attack speed while rare unique is nearby, we're going to switch it to crit chance, and then we are going to put the Calgurn enchant on here for crit chance as well, and that'll bring us to just below 8%, which means we can drop Overwhelm. And when we drop Overwhelm, we'll grab Brutal Fervor instead. So that's the plan for today. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see how this build proceeds from here on out, come join me over on Twitch. I'll be streaming most of the day today and most of the day tomorrow. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Joespresso_. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.